while I was here, all my 3 years that I was here from 86 to 89, there were no boundaries. I never felt that I couldn't do anything I wanted to do or set out to do. And I want that for the students here. Because once you lay the foundation, there is such an enormous amount of possibility.
Makeup and hair, have you signed in already? Yeah. Raise your hand if you were here for makeup and hair. If you were not here for makeup and hair yesterday, it's too late to join.
Like I said before, I'm an alum of here, and I'm a Duke Ellington class of 1989. I came here and got to be in this place because I was trying to avoid going to a boarding school, and was in the YMCA's program on W Street. And so we used to do plays. So I was like, well, let me go audition for Duke Ellington, and got in. So I started my journey here and in theater, like I said, and it just wasn't, floating my boat, like, feeling like ice cream melting or, being hot pink on a hayride, which was actually an assignment for me. I knew then that I was not willing at that point in my life to really take that journey. So I happened upon stage management. I stage managed my first show in 10th grade. Bubbling Brown Sugar was the musical. And I remember Mike Malone was the director, and Linda Gravatt was the co-director. And so when we were in the theater, and Mr. Barton was in the pit, I had the headsets and everything on. And so I heard a conversation. They were like, is she going to make it through this show? So Linda Gravatt was like this, I'm going to show her how to call it. So she's like, I got the headsets on. And so they were like, either she's going to call a perfect show or she's going to freak out. So I ended up calling a perfect show.
Since 12, I've been a costume designer or a fashion designer for myself and a whole gambit of areas. And then I thought I'd teach. Well, they gave me the opportunity coming to Duke with Dream Girls because I was a working costume designer. And coming here and being available and giving them what I could have had was the dream that came true.
Oh, wow. Let's see. I kind of got into it by accident, costume designing. I actually went to this Ellington, and we had fashion design, but it was in the art department. But the teacher we only could get to class in the 11th grade. But he passed before I got it. So I just sort of lingered until I got out of school, and then I met Mike Malone for the first time. And he was teaching some choreography at a school we were rehearsing at. And he kind of wanted us in his piece. But we didn't get in the piece, but he said, y'all can come to the school. And that's how I got here.
Oh, okay.
That's how I got here. Because I never thought I would
Back to high
teach.
school.
But you sort of gradually get into it. Because you're always teaching people how to do things, especially when you're teaching the younger generation costuming. So subconsciously you're teaching. So I just kind of eased into it after I did all the other worldly stuff, shows and, all across the country and the world and all of that. You just kind of come back, give back.
I've been teaching. I was teaching.
Since day one.
At what, 3rd grade?
Yeah, see?
In 3rd grade, I would bring home all of my lessons and then teach the neighborhood kids during the summer on the porches.
See?
I'd have them all lined up. So I knew I would teach. But my theory was go get something to teach.
Mm-hmm.
Go experience it so that when you do come back, you have something to offer and you've been fulfilled.
Yeah. All the naysayers, get out of here. That's what I tell the kids. You got some naysayers behind, and they could be your family members.
Absolutely.
They could be your family members.
Don't understand.
Yeah. And during the time that I was coming up, there was a no-no sewing. that was seriously no-no. I
For
mean, I
males.
had people, yes.
For males.
I've had somebody to tell me, oh, you're not supposed to be looking at Vogue magazines. And I was like, why? And I'm still flipping through it. So, so it's what it is.
My costume journey from 9th to 12th grade was a journey, indeed. It started as like a little hobby to dream. Then I realized how serious and professional the world can be in the fashion and costume designing. Not that it took away my love for it, it just made me realize how serious you have to be if you want to do good at this job and if you actually want to make a career and money off of it. So it taught me a lot of patience, it taught me a lot of technique, it taught me how to stay calm, and basically helped me become more of a problem solver, which is life techniques that, you know, can help you in many different ways other than costumes. Even outside of costumes, I had opportunities to do makeup for many people, for my churches, for families and others. I've had opportunities to fix people's stuff and make money off of it. And I even had the opportunity to make clothes for my sister, my older sister. That's actually how I started to get into costume design. The first thing I truly ever made was my sister's prom dress.
So my career goal is to become a fashion designer and have my own fashion brand. So when I was applying to Duke, I noticed that TDP had a costume shop and a costume class. And starting off with costumes is a really good place because in costumes you can learn how to do research on your pieces. You know, you have all history to look at. So it's really good to figure out, you know, different styles of clothing, like different ways to sew, things like that. I was very excited to learn that and come here, and this is one of my pieces that I've made for Romeo and Juliet. So it was kind of my first time doing a lot of research, and I learned lots. So like, as you can see, it's, well, maybe not, but it's a long dress because back in the Renaissance time period, they didn't wear short dresses because, you know, ankles, you can't have that, right? Okay. And then another thing was they used to wear lots of layers, but since like I made this for theater, you got to be able to get in and out of it quickly. So we had to make some modifications. I've like attached lots of things together, so you still got your two separate fabrics, but they're one skirt. So it's really helpful to have it like that.
So my inspiration for this piece was piggyback off of a piece from the Wizard of Oz show that Duke put on a few years ago, and the board member of Duke, she wanted that actual garment, and Duke couldn't give it to her because it was in our costume files for the shows that we did. So she was adamant about getting the piece. That's when Miss Robin thought about me. The Wiz outfit that was my inspiration, and then I just kind of like took it to a different level with the sequence fabric and having it all just one fabric and not having the different patches and different things. So I just took my own spin on it.
Every freshman is required to make something for Romeo and Juliet. Miss Betty says because our English teacher, we acted out at the end of the year. My second is, ever since I was young, my dad used to always take me to Ren Fair. And I always wanted to make something like flowy and like fun dresses because I saw like ladies walking around in them. I always thought it was really cool looking. Mainly it was just cutting out patterns, and then halfway through, well, more like 1/3 through the process, I lost my instruction manual of how to put together those pattern pieces. So Mr. Murray helped me with that, but it was eventful. But it was also rewarding to see it come together, but at some points it just didn't look right, but then it looked right when you put it together.
There's no, because really if you think about space, there's no boundaries, right? You can go and you can go anywhere. A lot of times people think they have a fixed road. You don't. A lot of times if I'm learning this here, I pick these skills up, I put them in my basket. Then I want to go learn something, I get another interest here. Oh, let me go pick these skills up and put them in my basket. And after a while, you'll see that your basket is making up your path.
I've been in love with theater, since I was like in middle school. However, I learned the magic of the ephemeral art of lighting design, that you are creating all these like vignettes and all these moments that creates this big picture for a play of feeling and emotions. But at the end, when you walk out of the theater, there's nothing that you can actually take with you. It's all those memories and all that stuff that I as lighting design trying to communicate based, of course, in the storytelling of the show. I, of course, like Duke Ellington is a big name here in the city and in education, arts education. And I've been, like, for a while looking at Duke Ellington. I have a friend that was the lighting design instructor here, so I knew about it. And Ms. Harris reached out to me with the opportunity of teaching this semester, joining the school, and I couldn't say no. It's something that for me is important, that is sharing the art and the passion of lighting design to a new generation of students.
I enjoy how free I am. I get full control of what I want to do. Of course there will be a template you have to follow, but you can kind of freestyle and do whatever you want to. I like how I can implement my music into my own soundscapes whenever he gives us projects and stuff. In a few years, I will hope that I'm DJing at live festivals with some of my own music, like Tomorrowland. It's a huge EDM festival in Europe. I do audio stuff on the side, but my main goal is to DJ and then mix for other people.
Just know anything you say now can be used in court of law.
Yeah, got it.
Or,
I primarily focus on lights. I do a lot of technical stuff for the live audio things that we do here, but my design is in lighting, and that's kind of where I work. The difference between sound and lighting is you're shaping something that is visual and not only changes what people see and can affect the moods and all of that, but you're also changing how a person looks, how a set looks, how everything looks on stage. I don't know, I really like finding that while still figuring out how to tell the story in a really gentle and subtle way, more so than I've been able to do with sound. I mean, I want to move into the design field for lighting. I want to be like my teachers. I want to be designing lights for proper big shows. And I mean, that's what I enjoy, and that's what I want to continue doing and do professionally.
Well, when I got here, I got in here for makeup. And I mean, that's always been kind of something that I've liked doing, but I'm more into special effects makeup with live casting and such. But for the first part of my freshman year, I was in management lab, and then I switched on to lighting lab. I never ever wanted to do audio until I had to take 2 mandatory audio classes in my junior year. And I was not looking forward to it much. And then in the first week or two, I started looking forward to going to those classes. And I think a really big reason for that is because of Mr. Woodward. He's a really fantastic teacher. He teaches really well, and he switched me from lighting to audio.
Mostly I work in audio, so I do a lot of work as a show is developing. I do a lot of work working with the directors or the production team to flesh out what they're looking for. And so we discuss what the look of the set is going to be, and then we go and consider how we can mic the performers, whether it's an instrumentalist or vocalist or theater. We talk about what techniques we can use to capture their sound and project it to the audience. Primarily, a lot of the work is grunt work, so putting together the set, putting things in place, making sure everything's together, and we only have a little bit of time that we actually spend designing or running through and making sure everything's working.
So with technical design and production, we have grown from now in 1988 to 89, that was the first class of technical theater that started. Kenneth Doherty started that, who was my mentor. That was my last year here. I stayed in theater. Some others went to tech theater. He started a really small program, mostly focusing on scenic and lighting at the time. because that's what we were doing a lot in. Now we have morphed into not only scenic, lighting, audio, we have costuming, and management. And in costume, we have subdivisions of makeup and wigs. And management, we do the whole, breadth of everything. So at the end of the day, we're really looking at entertainment, live entertainment, going back in the planning, which is your creation of it all, and then the implementing of it and the execution of it, and then the striking and restoring.
So my favorite shows are the instrumental and show choir shows that happened throughout this year. So the instrumental show, I really enjoyed creating, like reinforcing the area of the performance with the wind instruments by creating like a wash, a nice golden wash, since it was during the winter time. So to give it more of a Christmassy type feel, I used LED lights to kind of reflect off the wind instruments to make it look like jingle bells or like Christmas lights reflecting off like a Christmas tree during like a nice wintry performance. So I like really enjoyed that. And so for the show choir show, it was like so emotional. Like a lot of the solo pieces like were really good. The people in show choir have such good energy. They were like really nice to work with. My favorite part about that was working with Dr. Spells and seeing like each pieces through tech and seeing like what colors work with what, like how bright or how dim things should be, like to make sure that the person looks their best while performing.
My favorite show that I worked on this school year is They Keep Coming, the theater senior showcase. It was something about that show. I don't know if it was seeing all of the actors and the emotions put into the lighting, especially during the ending Aida sequence. It was so like dramatic, but like in some of the best ways possible. I don't know, it was like a realization for me. It was kind of like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. And I don't know. And it was something about seeing the directors and the actors happy after the show that just made me feel like, it was like, yes, like, yes. It was just so rewarding. Like, I can't stress that enough, how rewarding it is to see people happy and feel like their dreams were fulfilled through a show.
You can have, your production manager, your general manager, your stage manager, your deck manager. Management is management. We just want to get our kids equipped with the skills so that they can flow in wherever they want to go. And then after a while, most of them will probably be producers because they've experienced so much.
I like to be a leader, and it all kind of started when I was in middle school. I was an actor and a technical person, but during rehearsals I realized that I love stage management more. So when I moved, I carried that on at Duke, auditioned, and then I got in for stage management. So all my 4 years I have been doing stage management because it's really fun. I like the planning process and just the whole process in general. Even though it can be stressful, it's fun.
Some of the characteristics of a good stage manager is someone who's like really organized, responsible, able to kind of think quick on their feet. So like in case something happens right before the show, you have to have a plan in place. Also someone who is a good communicator and listener, that's very important. Like I said, stuff changes all the time.
My favorite show that I've stage managed was the On Broadway show choir, musical review that happened in mid-April. It was the biggest show I've ever undertaken. We had projections, fall spots, light cues, costume change, lav mics and handheld mics. So there were just a lot of pieces to kind of bring together. And through the week, it was a bit of a struggle trying to get there, just because there are so many pieces and a bunch of new people were working together. But by Sunday, which is our final show, we really hit a nice rhythm to a point where all the cues were just on time, where the actors weren't rushed, but the audience wasn't left waiting, and I felt like we had a very good energy that day. So we were all working together really nicely, and I think that kind of just brought my mood up and realized like why I like doing it so much. Actually, I cried at the end of the show because I feel like the sense of pride for the performers that they just do such a great job on stage, and I love the fact that I get to assist in that, and that show really helped me see that again.
We all come from different places, so the way we come in and do our work isn't the same from somebody else. So being able to watch every one of my classmates run their own show and work in their own way, I'm able to pick up on some of that stuff and like, oh, I like the way this person does this. So it's like picking up on good skills. We just open up doors to each other, so we're able to collaborate and elaborate on how we do certain stuff.
If you have discipline, you can go and do anything. And and I like to let them know that their imagination is like their greatest gift. If you imagine it, if you're thinking it, if you're dreaming it, it's already yours. It can be had, right? If you thought about it, it's within grasp. If it wasn't in grasp, you wouldn't think about it. So I like to encourage them, like, to keep on your journey, So anyway, that's what I just want to give back to them, so they can know they can do anything, be anywhere, anyone, and do it with grace, style, and excellence. Yeah, that's my speech for today.
Yeah.